Alongside Frankie Corrado. Frankie, the Habs have had a wild preseason. Fines, fights, injuries. Their two biggest beefs with their two biggest rivals, the Leafs and the Sens. They happen to open the season with games against those two teams in the first week. Do you think this bad blood carries over into the games that really matter?
I do, Gino, and for a number of reasons. First and foremost, there's some stuff that happened in these games. The Patrick Laine incident, Kirby Dach getting hit by Ridley Gregg, Arbor Jacky answering back at Tim Stützle. Like specifically with the Ottawa games, that's a lot of regulars. That's a lot of guys that are going to be playing this season. So I can certainly see a lot of that carrying over into the regular season games. But aside from that, these are teams now that have different expectations. For the Ottawa Senators, they have a new head coach in Travis Green who's going to be hammering things home like we need to be a harder team to play against. The Montreal Canadiens want to take a step forward, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, under head coach Craig Berube, are going to be a different walking and talking team. Straight line hockey, more an emphasis on competitiveness and grit. So with all that being said, those expectations can lead to a little more of a chippy kind of game. And if expectations maybe aren't being met, that can lead to frustration. And what does frustration lead to? A little more of a chippy style of game. So I have no doubt, Gino, that these three teams are going to see a spillover of the chippiness that we saw in the preseason into the regular season.
Arbor Jacky has been right in the middle of a lot of the chaos. He's a player that spent time in the NHL and the American Hockey League last season. Do you think he makes this roster and contributes coming out of the gate with the Habs?
He probably does make the team, but he's made it harder on himself than he had to. He spent more time seemingly in the preseason not playing than he has playing. And coming out of last year, he did a really good job, Gino. When he came back from Laval, he looked comfortable. He looked settled in. It didn't seem like he was running around chasing the other aspects of the game. And now in this preseason, he's kind of chased those other aspects of the game. I don't doubt that he can settle down and find his game, but you have to look at a guy like Jayden Struble, who came up from Laval when Jacky got sent down. He's been a really stable force on the Montreal Canadiens blue line. There's other competition as far as those roster spots go on the Montreal Canadiens blue line. So I don't think it's clear cut that Arbor Jacky is going to be a top six defenseman on this team right away. He's going to be there, I would imagine, but there is more competition for that spot, especially playing on the third pair, and he's going to have to show that he can play the game, not just chase the other aspects around the game.
Do you think the Leafs should be inserting Ryan Reeves into the opening night lineup against the Habs to help police the situation?
It's a good question because, we saw what happened last year. Arbor Jacky and Ryan Reeves, they get into a fight night one of the regular season. If you're going to make plans with your lineup based around what the other team may or may not do, you're kind of losing the plot a little bit. At the end of the day, you're trying to win a hockey game. You have to field the best team that gives you a chance to win the game. So if you feel like Ryan Reeves gives you a better chance to win that game, feel free. Put him in the lineup. You signed him for 3 years. You should feel that way about him. It shouldn't matter if they have Arbor Jacky in the lineup or not. There should be plenty of grit on the Leafs team anyways. So to answer your question, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Reeves is in the lineup because he's there. He's got 2 more years and they think he's a part of the solution in Toronto. So yes, Ryan Reeves should be in the lineup against the Montreal Canadiens.
Leafs and Habs open up the regular season against each other on Wednesday night. 2 games later, it's the Sens visiting the Bell Center on Saturday.